Well, let's talk a little bit first about the opportunity before we talk about the things to
Oh,
watch, because I think you
good
made
idea.
the point about that when we talked about when Michael gave that example of generating marketing content, it was kind of, oh, this is a emotion that we see today, and it's just a way of like, a little bit taking advantage of a technology, but kind of within the existing experience. But I think in the shopping environment, both in
Right.
store and online, these LLM technologies, especially the language models, really provide an opportunity to really revolutionize the experience and change what the experience looks like. And the reason I say that is that these language models bring this ability to have automated conversational experiences, right? And so, again, as you said, sometimes there'll be a human in the loop. Sometimes you really want there to be a more of an automated real time experience. And, for example, you could imagine because the language models have this ability to understand and generate natural language. So you could say, "Oh, my next time I go look, on a clothing retailer website, let's say, I don't have to go into it thinking, "Oh, I'm looking for black pants," and when and tailor my search and just get, a list of outputs. I can put in I'm working from home more often and I want comfortable clothes that still look professional on a video call. And I could get both a natural language descriptive response of why this set of product, a product, results, plus a natural language description explaining why this set of products is, the perfect ones for the scenario that has been described in a natural language way. So again, that's a very, interactive, conversational, personalized experience for the shopper. And you can have that online, or you could have that even in an in-store type of assistant. And maybe it's one that is like exposed, it's a screen that shoppers can see and they're working with, and maybe it even has some audio capabilities and video capabilities. You're stitching together a bunch of different types of AI,
Right.
image recognition, language understanding, these sorts of things. Or it's more something that's available to the sales associate on like a tablet, and they don't have to translate the customer's natural language question into the right search. They can put the customer's natural language question right in there and again get a kind of natural language response for them. So you can imagine a few different scenarios where that could come into play in the store or the shopping experience broadly. But then you ask, okay, then what are the things you sort of worry about? And
Yeah.
especially again when you would have worry about and then get out ahead of, right? Because
Right. Right.
we work with this all the time, and so we are not so scared by this technology. But there's lots of, of course, the articles that are written in a way that can make this technology seem pretty scary. But when you kind of know what you should think about and what your options are for mitigating the risks, you can look at it a little bit more, deliberately and intentionally. And navigate the space with a little more confidence, right? So when you imagine these sort of automated experience where you're delivering information to a customer about your product, accuracy is critical, right? You really want
Right.
that response to be accurate. And so in this some of the technologies that are available to drive that are there's a capability called it's sometimes called data grounding, and it's sometimes called retrieval augmented generation, which now you
Hmm.
can tell that I hang out with engineers when I use
Right.
like that. But if I explain the term, I think actually it is quite useful because it refers to a process where when you're building out an application like this, let's say a chatbot,
Mhm.
that there's a process where in the taking in the natural language question, let's say, and generating a natural language response, there's a step where a source of data is consulted and data is retrieved. So relevant data that's relevant to the question is retrieved from a designated data source, it augments the prompt, so it's added to the prompt that gets sent to the model, and then the model is instructed to take that into account in generating the response. So you get retrieval augmented generation or grounded, data grounded responses. And that so when you think about it that way, where you say, "Oh, I'm not relying on a base model that only knows, like, what it was trained on the web, in 2021 or whatever. I'm looking at the model for the language understanding and my own data source that I've designated for the factual information that's gonna get conveyed to the customer in a natural language way." So you can take that retrieval augmented generation or data grounding plus, as Michael already described, the meta prompt capability. You can include a meta prompt, which is like an instruction, a natural language instruction to the model that says, hey, make sure that when you generate a response, it's always based on data that you received, right? Like data that was
Mhm, mhm.
submitted with to the model. So basically, you can instruct the model to be accurate in its natural language responses. And
Wow.
again, that's examples of some technical capabilities that once you are aware of that, and then when you think about deploying those applications, you say, okay, this is the capability that I want to make available, and here's the mitigations that I'm going to include with my application so that I can be confident that it's going to work in a way. And then you might add another layer of technology there. You might add content filters because you want to make sure, let's say somebody does something obnoxious, they want your chatbot to say something offensive, right? That you
Right.
can add those content filters so that if the prompt includes offensive content, or even if inadvertently the model generates something offensive, that can be filtered out by content filters. So you have these layers of technology that you can implement into your application to, again, give yourself confidence that that the experience for your customer is going to be what you want it to be.